What's up, YouTube? My name is Darius, and today me and my beautiful girlfriend Danielle are going to be telling you and answering an age-old question of buyers versus renters. So what should you do? Should you buy or should you rent, depending on where you are? So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through two different properties. One of them is downtown St. Louis, and one of them is in Florissant, Missouri, which is north side of St. Louis. And we'll compare the prices of what they're listed at versus what they could be rented at or what they could be sold at, depending on what they are. So stay tuned for the information.
All right, so on a property that's $199,000, $200,000, you'd need about 10 grand down as your down payment. Okay, and that makes your monthly payment around $1,200, which is comparable.
And what was that interest rate? 6.8%. All right, so of course everybody asks about interest rates,
and the amortization is 30 years.
Right. So and usually people do a 30-year mortgage. Yeah. So I mean, if you balling,
right? Because I'm like, some people are balling, because I'm like,
even balling, you want to do 30 so you can have a lower mortgage payment.
Right.
You could always double up and pay it off in 15 years. Right. But all I was gonna say was, we're looking at probably about $1,200 to $1,500 a month.
Right. And we're not capping. Here's the math.
And that's what fluctuations in the interest rate market, fluctuations in the buyer's market. So we about to go check out this house. We're gonna show y'all this house,
right.
and then we're gonna come back
real quick.
And you
gonna go to stats real quick, or you gonna see the property? Let's go over the stats real quick.
Okay, all right. What's
that way we know what we're looking at. All right, so this property, right? Let's go over the stats to be fancy and proper. All right, so this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath property. It is from 1960. It is 1,476 square feet. Look at this cute 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. Just needs a little TLC, so it could be a starter home.
How much do so you said 199? How much do homes out here rent for?
All right, so some homes out in this area, they do rent for $1,700 to about $1,900.
All right. So
and this is in Florissant, Missouri.
Right. So North County, for those of you from St. Louis,
exactly.
It's about comparable in the areas. If you go out to Ferguson, or if you go out to most other areas, how North County is.
So if you were to buy this house, you could lease it for about that amount. And just to give you an idea of if you were to lease in this area, that's about the amount that you're looking for too. And I could definitely attest to that, because I saw a home this morning with my client. So that's definitely within the market today. All right. So, all right, let's go look at this
excited.
house.
I'm too excited. I'm like, let's get in this thing.
You get excited.
Right. I keep doing it. I'm like, I'm gone. I'm here. I'm gone.
Let's use that as our transition. All right, let's go. All right.
All right, babe, so what you think about the property?
Well, you know what? After we ran the numbers, so we know the house would be about $200,000 to buy, and for leasing that property in the Florissant area, we know it would be around, what we said the comps were about
for $1,700, which is
to
kind of steep, honestly. Like,
yeah,
we didn't see anything
steep.
under 1,500, right?
Not at this moment.
That's crazy. Because usually 1,500 is like that median. But I will, and we did zip code. We didn't put any kind of price, filters on it or anything. It was all just zip code. At least it's active. We did do active. But I mean, that is crazy to think. It's that, I guess, competitive in Florissant, which I love Florissant, but some people have their feelings about North County, and I'm like, I don't know what's your problem.
But what's interesting to think about is that will be how much the comps run for that property, that area of that property. But if you were to buy that house, your mortgage is around $1,300 a month. So thinking about that, that's the difference between buying versus leasing. My personal opinion is I would probably, lease that property over buying it. But I don't know, the numbers do speak. I might buy it and then, you stay in there myself and, use it as an investment opportunity. So the numbers make you think, because it's like you have to think about those. The price is going to be a little different whether you're leasing or buying it, and it's never really apples to apples like that.
Yeah. Plus, one thing that's really important that people don't talk about is everybody's situation is different, and so, you gotta, when you're leasing, you have to usually pay security deposit, which is usually equivalent to rent. So at $1,700, you gotta pay a $1,700 security deposit, and you gotta pay your first month's rent before you move in. To purchase a house, as we said, $200,000, 5% down, that's 2.5% for the FHA, and then another 2.5% preferably for your closing costs, which you can have the seller cover your closing costs, which I would highly recommend looking into. But you putting down about 10 grand, so that's like 13. That's like 3,400 versus 10,000.
Yeah.
Huge
And
difference.
honestly, that goes into our first question for this session. For buyers and for renters, what can I afford? That is a very common question and concern for buyers and renters, is seeing what they can afford. As you just saw with that property, for renting it is a one price, which that market is $1,700 to $1,900, but to purchase it, your mortgage price is going to be around $1,300 a month. So you have to think about what you can afford, and that is definitely a big concern.
All right, lit. So what's the next question, babe?
All right, so another common question for buyers and renters is, where should I buy? We just saw a residential home in a county neighborhood, very secluded, and we're going to compare that to a downtown apartment that, you can also buy or rent, and see the different, dynamics of that lifestyle. So, what would you say to your buyers or renters who are asking, where should I rent? Where should I pick? What location should I pick?
I would say, if you're not married, if you don't have kids, then I would ask, what type of person are you? And that'll kind of help. Do you want to live in the suburbs, or you want to live in the city? And then if you had kids, I would definitely say, what school district do you want to live in? A lot of times people want to stay in the same school district. That constricts where you can live and how much. You spending way more to do something like that,
right?
Versus opening all the way up to
definitely
the city and county.
Options.
But that's a valid concern.
Yeah, that is.
That's a valid concern, because a lot of people, basically, private school is the tuition of college. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people can't afford that. So they're like, I'm gonna move somewhere where my tax dollars are going towards better education, and they're actually putting it where it's supposed to go. So that's the way I would handle that situation. I would ask one of those two questions based on whether or not they had kids. It's crazy how kids rule. They could really, like,
clock your movements.
Right. It's like they are in control of your movements indirectly. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what about you? Like, do you have anything that you would specifically say, or you don't?
Honestly, pretty much the same thing. If they don't have kids, or even if they do have kids, I would ask them, what type of environment are you inclined to? What type of activities do you want to be around? Are you okay with, city life, or do you want to be more secluded in the suburbs? So I think that's important. And, like you said, also, if they do have kids, keeping them in that same school district, or, just keeping them around the same people. You know, that's important for a lot of families. So things like that. But other than that, I think if there's someone who is relocating to the area, I would ask them, are you wanting to immerse yourself into the city culture, into this new environment, or are you wanting to be, you know, by yourself? Because that's the only other caveat that I could think of. But yeah, I would just kind of see what their needs are and let them know, okay, this is what you're going to get in these environments.
One more thing about what can I afford. With leases, you generally have to have 3 times a month of rent. With a mortgage, they run way more than just you know, credit to debt ratio and all that stuff. So they're gonna pull your credit and everything, and also see like how much you can afford when you go to get your pre-approved. So for homes, it'll be pre-approved process will pretty much tell you how much you can afford, and then you, for a lease, just take your income, monthly income, divided by 3, and then that'll tell you how much you can afford for a house. I mean, for any room, essentially.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to add on that?
No, I definitely agree. Both have extra steps, and that kind of leads us into our next, you know, question is, what additional costs would you tell a buyer?
Okay, so if you're purchasing, it's the closing costs, and I would say everything's included in the closing costs. So if we go back to our $200,000 example, you know, you looking at, probably close to a few grand. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it's $5,000, but you got to pay, and also there are some expenses too that you have to pay that are not included in closing costs. You have to pay those out of pocket. So like inspection. That's exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, definitely inspections, and the inspection's like $600, and that's just for general inspection. That doesn't include like your radon and your if you want to do lead-based paint, you know, depending on
termite.
Termite is definitely not included in that general inspection. Oh, and the sewer lateral is also one that you have to look out for. So I think inspections are the only thing I can think of that are not included in the closing costs.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
and
you pay for
your homeowner's insurance, you know, that's not always guaranteed to be a part of your sale. Oh no, the home warranty. That's usually warranty. Sometimes negotiable in it, but your homeowner's insurance is usually never in part of the sale. With my policy.
No, it's the homeowner's insurance is required if you don't put at least 5% down.
Yeah.
It's either 5 or 10%. I think it's either 5 or 10%.
All right, so that takes us to our next question what additional costs could I expect? So as a buyer, what additional costs could a buyer expect, a first-time home buyer?
Well, you know, I guess the obvious is the closing costs. Maybe not say obvious, but that is the number one thing that you're gonna have to be concerned with is the closing costs and your down payment.
Yeah.
So you're looking at about 5% down if you do an FHA loan. If you do your realtor can tell you about how much your down payment is going to be, but you gotta plan for your down payment, and you gotta plan for your closing costs.
Yeah, and along with your inspections and things like that. If there are any, you know, things that have to be, attended to from the inspections, if there's any maintenance that needs to be fixed or anything like that, are you gonna always fix it? Is the seller willing to fix those things? Because if they're not willing to, you have to decide: are you going to fix those things to close, if it's something that has to be done per, you know, your lender to close, or if you're going to do it down the line. So those are just some things to think about. And of course your utilities. And of course, after closing too, you have things that you're going to have to be responsible for, like the maintenance of the property itself. You know, HOA and taxes, obviously. You know, and things apply. There are other expenses. Usually a lender's gonna tell you what your expenses are for, you know, going forward. They're gonna tell you about how they include everything in the escrow account and how, you know, it gets paid out at the end of the year. You're basically paying into that. And then your title company is gonna tell you everything that you need to close. They're gonna tell you this is how much money you need, this is how much money you're getting back. They'll give you a final closing statement. Yeah. So you can kind of use a guide. You know, I would definitely recommend saving up your money, you know what I'm saying, especially once you figure out what kind of loan you're gonna get. If you're a first-time home buyer, definitely recommend the FHA loan, and a property that's FHA approved,
because you know then you'll at least FHA, you know, it passes the FHA type of inspection, so you can at least know, you know, you're getting a pretty good property. So we pulling up. We about to be here, but we are in downtown St. Louis. I used to live right on the street we just turned on in this street. So the corner of that street and this street, Tucker and Washington. I used to live right there at the Bogan Loss. Used to love it. Here's our old office, HSG Realty. And here's also where House 7 is. So we just gonna pull up, find some parking, and then we're gonna get out there and we're gonna show y'all this unit. As I mentioned, if you want to live downtown, you got to be ready for the nightlife. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ready for the sirens. You got to be ready for the speakers. You got to be ready for the music, especially on the weekend. But it is fun if you like doing stuff. If you are a nightlife type person, this is perfect for you, because it be people up and down these streets all night.
Amenities extend beyond the property. You know, if you have restaurants and, you know, grocery stores, shopping centers that are within walking distance,
Walkability.
That walkability score.
That's an amenity itself.
We got some lofts downtown that connect to grocery stores. Like you can go to the grocery store in your pajamas and not be judged.
Yeah.
Because your building connects to the grocery store. Like, you know, that walkability score is serious. So I think that takes us to our last and final question, which is, you know, what is the process like? You know, what's the process like for buyers and for renters? So we want to speak on buyers' pay. Like, what would you say the process is like, you know, if you were explaining it to a first-time home buyer?
I mean, the process is like a 6-week long process. It's a lot of waiting. I mean, that's what it is. It's you wait, you pay. You wait, you pay, and then you close. So 6 weeks of doing that, and then you got your house. It's honestly not that hard. I'd say the hardest part about it is finding your house, because you probably put, I don't know, depending on the market, you could put anywhere from 5 to 20 offers in. That means you've seen more properties than that. You know what I'm saying? And just your home buying process. So usually it takes people a while to just find their house. After you find your house and get an accepted offer on your house and you're under contract, that's where things kind of get easy. And that, you know, buy and pay. I mean, sign too. Sign your life away. Oh my goodness. The amount of stuff, it's pointless to even read it. I mean, not recommending you don't read it. I'm just saying it's a ton of contracts that just have all kind of everything. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, you just signing stuff and paying for stuff and waiting. You waiting for your things to come back. You're waiting for your, you know, get clear title.
Is that how you would explain it to a buyer on a consultation though? Like, if we were just, okay.
I would tell them that in a consultation. I'd be like, after the home is under contract, you're gonna spend most of your time waiting and paying for things. That's factual.
I guess I would dial it back, and I would, you know, if I'm talking to a buyer from the first point of contact, you know, I would let them know, okay, you know, we want to make sure that your finances to pay for the property is secured. So, you know, your loan process, or if you're paying for cash, and, you know, how we're gonna use that to our negotiation tactics. because with whatever loan type you have, you might be able to ask the seller to contribute some things. So that's where I would really, start with my buyer. And then just let them know we're going to look at properties. Let me know that your wants and your needs, if there are certain things that you absolutely need in the property, cool. If there are some things that you kind of want, and we've gone to, there are a few properties that don't really have that, we kind of, got to weigh our options, because you're not always going to get all of your wants and all of your needs if you're not building a home. So there's some things I would really look at and narrow down their options and let them know, like, okay, you said you wanted this, so let's make sure we're looking at properties that meet your requirement. And then looking at something and letting them know that once they fall in love with something, being ready to negotiate and being ready to fight for it if that's what that calls for, because sometimes you are in a seller's market and you have to negotiate your offer to make it more appealing. So that's kind of where I would go with telling a first-time home buyer. So what about a renter? We got a game going on?
Now, you asked what the home buying process is like, right? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, what is the process like? Like, what is the process for buying a home like?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. But yeah, okay, so I'm stick by what I said. I mean, you look for your own house, you find your house, and then we go take you to the house. I put you on a search, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, and then once you find a house, yeah, you got to get pre-approved and everything. And then, a lot of it is pretty much, signing leases and paying, I mean, that's pretty much what a lot of real estate is paperwork, paperwork and paying for stuff. So definitely would say that, it's just a matter of going out there and finding what you need. You go find what you're looking for, or you have a realtor help you find what you're looking for, then you have that realtor help you to do the process of getting it.
Alright, y'all, if you made it this far into our video, we thank you for rocking with us. Go ahead and like and share this video, and comment below any topics you want to see from us. While you're at it, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future content. And if you're looking for any real estate opportunities in the St. Louis and surrounding areas, check out our description box below for the links to our other social medias and our contact info. But until next time, y'all stay up, and we'll see you in the next sesh. We were literally already in the turning lane. Honk your horn.
No, I'm not gonna honk at the police officer. What's wrong with you? I'm black.
Bro.
I'm black. I'm gonna do this right here.
That is.
Here we go. Oh.
Right. We in the same position.
Now, would red light even green?